Hey there, today we're going to be talking about buying a home using a VA loan in 2024. My name is Cameron.mccown. I'm a home loan originator and I'm in the military. I'm in the National Guard, have been for 11 years now with the National Guard and Army Reserve. And I've been a home loan originator for 13 years. I care about VA lending, I specialize in VA lending, and I care about you as a veteran in utilizing your VA loan. So let's get started with it. The VA loan comes down to three main areas, and that's income, assets, and credit. If you have the income, assets, and credit and it qualifies for the VA loan using VA underwriting guidelines, then you can buy however big of a house, income, assets, and credit say you can buy. So the number one thing I'm going to do as a lender is gather your income documents and try to understand those. If you're in the military, if you're active duty, it's super easy to get your income documents, just your most recent LES and your W-2 from the last 2 years. Send them to me, we'll calculate income, and you're good to go. If you're retired or you're drawing disability, that's also pretty easy. The disability award letter or retirement benefit letter are going to tell me how much you make on a monthly basis. Now, interestingly, with disability, it's not taxed, and so I get to gross that up and qualify you on more than you receive. That's right. So because it's not taxed, you get to qualify on more than you receive. I'll be able to calculate that and again issue your pre-approval based on your income, which is definitely stable and likely to continue going forward. If you're a W-2 employee or you're separated from service or you're in the service but National Guard, Army Reserve like I am, and you have another full-time career, it's going to depend on your career, on your job. Are you a W-2 employee that's worked in the same job for the last 2 years? Have you worked in the same industry for the last 2 years? Did you recently switch industries? Did you go into business for yourself? Are you an independent contractor? All of these questions they matter. The answer to them matters, and that's something where I have to look on a case by case basis and say, does this align with the VA guidelines when it comes to this situation? A lot of times it does, and a lot of times there's just a way to make it work. But I'm not going to know until I talk to you and until we have a conversation about it. So feel free to contact me at my phone number below, my information below, my team, and I will take great care of you if that's the direction you want to go. But we do have to figure it out on a case by case basis, whether you're in the military or not. And income is something that we work with on it. It's where we start. It's the number one thing that's going to break down when you're under contract if we don't do enough work now. So definitely want to key in on income. Assets. Let's talk about assets. So on a VA loan, you don't have to have a down payment. Everybody knows that. You can make a down payment if you want to, but you don't have to have one. So if you do, however, have closing costs and prepaid items. So what are those? Your title, your appraisal, some money set aside for your taxes and insurance to be put into what's called an escrow account. All of this is money that will be collected at closing. Now, a seller is allowed to pay for that stuff for you, but your realtor may not negotiate or the seller may not be able to pay for that for you. And so you may need to have some money set aside at closing in order to pay for that stuff yourself. A lot of times we can do what's called a lender credit, and we can credit some of that money to you just depending on the loan situation. Either way, there is something to know is that you can't have probably $0 in your account and qualify for a VA loan. I've had it happen a couple of times, a few different times where a veteran's gotten money back at closing. That's a really cool situation to be in. Just be prepared to have a few months of payments set aside. So if your payments say $1,500 or so, have 2 or 3 months of payments set aside in a savings account, a checking account, or money that you can access either through a gift or something like that. And we'll be able to work with that. Now, I still recommend you contact me about it. Hey, I have this situation. Here's what's going on. Is this enough? That kind of thing. We're going to qualify you, no matter how much money you have. Right? We'll qualify you for what you qualify for. But that's a conversation to have. Just keep in mind that because you don't have to have a down payment, that's no indication that you don't need to have some money saved up. With my team, we don't charge a flat fee for like a fixed loan fee for a VA loan for veterans, and so we won't have any kind of lender charges, but there could be some third party charges and stuff that you have to cover. All right, so credit. VA does not have a minimum credit score. A lot of people don't know that. Lenders have minimum credit scores. So if you go to your bank and your bank says you don't have a 640 credit score, so you can't qualify for a VA loan, not true. Absolutely not true. Most lenders will have like a 640 or maybe 620 minimum credit score. I know there's a big credit union that has a minimum, I believe, 620 credit score, median credit score for a VA loan. And I just started helping a buyer that is under that 620 credit score, got him under contract, and they're on their way. So really be aware of what your lender is telling you. If your lender is not my team, if your lender is not me, in terms of what the minimum credit score can be. You can have collections and still qualify for a VA loan. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can do so. There's lots of leniency and leeway that the VA gives you as a veteran to work with less than perfect credit situations. Of course, if you do have a great credit situation, then that's wonderful too. But we'll go down to a 580. We really prefer 600, but 580 manual underwriting, you'll be able to do that with the VA loan. And if you need connections to a company who or multiple companies who have, well, let you go down to 550, 530, let me know. The VA certainly allows it. It's just a layered risk thing that has to do with lenders, but all lenders are not created equal when it comes to what they'll allow, especially the bigger kind of, if they have like a military term in their name or something like that, they'll often be pretty cookie cutter when it comes to a lot of stuff having to do with VA loans, and you need a specialist on your side. So there's income, assets, and credit. Now, let me go over some things that you probably should not do if you're going to qualify for a VA loan in the next year. Don't spend all the money in your account. That's intuitive. We covered that in assets somewhat. Still, you'd be amazed at how many people make, $4,000 or $5,000 to $6,000 a month and just don't have more than a few $100s because they feel like they can spend it all. Also, let's do an analysis of what's hitting your credit every month in terms of your monthly payments, because a big mistake I see veterans make is they think they need to have all of their debt paid off, like their credit cards paid off, in order to qualify for a VA loan in the first place. That's not true. Only the minimum payments count. But what paying off your debt does do is it takes money out of your bank account. And so that makes it more difficult to qualify. I mean, you're still going to have earnest money and some other things. Again, you need to have some money in your bank account. So you may not need to pay off the credit cards that you're planning to pay off in order to qualify for a VA loan in the first place, or a VA loan on the house price that you want or the loan amount that you want in the first place. Also, don't worry that some lenders, again, will tell you. I've heard this so many times where my lender told me that my loan amount was too high for the VA. The VA doesn't have a high loan amount limit. You can put $0 down up to $2 million. You can buy a house with no money down, and so that's not a thing. You really want to be careful not to get into too much new credit or too much new debt, because again, the monthly payments will affect how much you can be pre-approved for. And those are the big things to really avoid. And don't switch jobs. Don't go into a new, like a self-employed versus like a W-2 employed type situation, because the self-employment income needs to be received for at least 12 months per VA guidelines in order for that to qualify. So if you believe that all of this, that you more or less align with all of this, or you would like to find out if you do, give me a call, 901-656-5399. Shoot me a text, send me an email. I've got my information in the description before. Let's talk about it. Let's see where you are. We will figure things out and go from there. If you enjoyed this, give me a like, subscribe, and all that stuff to the channel. Just helps us out a lot. And yeah, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.